Episode 3 of Televised Carnage has Rusty's Bootleggers facing off against Team Miyazaki. First up, the dangerous drunks from the US of A, Rusty's Bootleggers. They are led by the General. This car has a front-mounted heavy machine gun, meaning that he can dish it out to anyone that gets in his way. With him is Walker, Texas Ranger. This Jeep's light trailer has peach moonshine in it, which means his Molotovs have an infinite supply. Lastly, Southern Belle equipped with side-mounted machine guns, which gives her a different angle for the enemy. Coming off their defeat last episode, the Bootleggers are ready for victory. Now for the terrifying team from Tokyo, Team Miyazaki. They are led by their latest addition, Midnight. This car is piloted by one heck of a driver with restraint, trick driving, and expertise. Back is an old favorite Ninja with some upgrades. Now, with a flamethrower, he is going to make sure that Team Miyazaki is ready to literally bring the heat. The first team that is able to make it off the far edge of the table twice before the others is going to win express delivery. With both teams deployed, we're going to begin with Turn 1, Gear Phase 1, and all vehicles choosing their first movement. After Ninja drops some smoke and Walker, Texas Ranger misses with his heavy machine gun, we'll move on to Turn 1, Gear Phase 2, and all vehicles choosing their next movement. Midnight is going to begin with an early lead, with Walker, Texas Ranger trying to stop him with his machine gun, dealing him 2 whole points of damage. This will bring us to Gear Phase 3, and all vehicles still being active. Midnight is going to utilize his speed and cause Walker, Texas Ranger to miss with his attacks. This will allow Ninja to move up and set Walker, Texas Ranger on fire and deal him 4 whole points of damage. After the attacks, we'll move on to Gear Phase 4 and all vehicles still being active. For being on fire, Walker, Texas Ranger will take a whole point of damage before smashing into Midnight, lighting him on fire and dealing him 2 whole points of damage as well. Still trying to conduct his blocking maneuver, Ninja will smash into Walker, Texas Ranger, lighting himself on fire, taking 4 whole points of damage and dealing 2 whole points back. On his activation, Midnight almost makes it off the table before taking 1 whole point of damage from being on fire and then putting out the flames. In Gear Phase 5, both teams have one vehicle unable to activate, with the rest of the vehicles advancing towards the edge of the table. Walker, Texas Ranger takes 1 whole point of damage for extinguishing his flames and bringing us to Turn 2, Gear Phase 1, and all vehicles advancing towards the edge. Ninja takes a whole point of damage before moving on to Gear Phase 2 and 3. During these 2 gear phases, Ninja and Southern Belle exit the far edge of the table. During this time, Ninja sustains 3 whole points of damage from Southern Belle and being on fire. After rearranging the table, we will move on to Turn 3, Gear Phase 1, and Midnight being the only vehicle able to activate, before moving on to Turn 3, Gear Phase 2, and the Bootleggers joining the fight. Trying to stop the lead vehicle, Walker, Texas Ranger smashes into Midnight, dealing him 3 whole points of damage. Because he declared an evade, Midnight gets a free activation with his slipstream, pushing him further along the course. In Turn 3, Gear Phase 3, Team Miyazaki has a commanding lead and victory in sight. Unfortunately, due to a small miscalculation, Midnight smashes into the dividing wall, sustaining 1 whole point of damage and stopping him dead in his tracks. In Gear Phase 4, the last 2 vehicles join the fight and all vehicles make their next activation, with Walker, Texas Ranger utilizing his weapons to KO Team Miyazaki's lead car. When he becomes a wreck, he explodes and is removed from the table. Ninja takes a whole point of damage before putting out his own fire. Using audience votes, Team Miyazaki respawns Midnight, before moving on to Turn 3, Gear Phase 5. All active vehicles choose their next movement. Ninja shows off some serious skill by power sliding across hazardous terrain and purposefully wiping out. This causes him to take a medium straight forward right into the side of Walker, Texas Ranger. This causes Walker, Texas Ranger to take 2 whole points of damage, KOing the Bootlegger's lead vehicle. Because he has a trailer full of peach moonshine, he automatically explodes and deals 1 whole point of damage to Ninja. This takes him out and turns him into a smoking wreck as well. Using their audience votes, the Bootleggers bring back Walker, Texas Ranger as well before moving on to Turn 4, Gear Phase 1, and all vehicles able to activate doing so. At this point, the General makes it off the far edge of the table, giving the Bootleggers a commanding lead. Walker, Texas Ranger utilizes his machine gun and Molotovs to target Midnight. This causes him to be on fire and take 4 whole points of damage. In Turn 4, Gear Phase 2, the Bootleggers have a serious advantage. During his activation, Midnight takes his last whole point of damage from being on fire, which causes him to be a wreck and removing him from the game. At this point, Miyazaki is too far behind, and I'm giving the win to the Bootleggers. Congratulations on your victory. You made up for last episode's defeat. Well, that's all for Episode 3 of Televised Carnage. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe for future episodes of Televised Carnage.